and welcome to Shop Gal. Today we've got a really special guest here on the couch, Julie Seastrom from the USA. Welcome, Julie.
Thank you so much, Tara. I'm so happy to be here.
Oh my gosh, tell me, Julie, you run such an amazing brand. It's actually such a big deal that you've come out to Australia. Mokuyobi is her brand name. What's brought you out to Australia this time?
So we came out for the big design market, which was just this past weekend, and it was so fun to meet all of our Australian customers that came to buy our product, and it was so fun to see them wearing all of our old product that they have loved and worn for a long time, and it's just kind of crazy to be here with the brand for the first time and like see that, because coming from afar, you don't really think about like what's happening in the place where you're not, and it's like kind of like crazy to see it, like people wearing the product so far away from where I create it.
It must be so amazing to see, because you would have had customers for such a long time as well. Like, you've got raving fans over here, and even the people that I've spoken to, they can't believe that, oh my goodness, she's here. I've been following her brand for so long. It's such a big deal that you've come out all this way. So it must have been so heartwarming to see all the reactions of people meeting you in person.
Yeah, it's been so fun and like just crazy, kind of like a whirlwind.
It's such a fun idea. Like, I love, for a lot of independent brands, a lot start on the market scene, and it's so wild and it's so fun. How long have you been running your brand for?
So it's been 19 years.
19 years, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's been like a very long road. I started it just literally like sewing for fun. I didn't even know you could start a business.
Wow.
And then eventually I found out that you could like start your own business. And since I figured that out, I was like, okay, that's all I want to do. And I just grew it like from a really small, like 2006 was the year we founded, and the internet didn't even exist. Like there was no websites. Like, yeah, I used to do like craft fairs, local craft fairs in my hometown where I'm from, and just like domestically around the country, and just grow it really slowly. And I had a Kickstarter in 2013 where I did my first mass-produced product. But before that, I was just sewing everything myself, like 6 at a time, production style, and just kind of like figuring out what to do and how to price things and what my market is. And yeah, just grew it like really slowly over time.
It must have been such an exciting moment to take it from I'm working on these things individually, putting different items together, to, okay, we're putting in our bulk order. This is real. We're doing this. Yeah,
definitely.
I feel like that's such a huge moment in like any business, and that like, okay, we're doing this.
For
what
sure.
was that? What did that feel like for you?
I would say like each step of the way, like there's an end goal, like I have a vision in my mind of how I want it to be, how big I want it to be, how I want it to be perceived. And so I'm always just trying to get there. And obviously that's always changing and growing and becoming further into the future. So as I work towards that goal, it's like, okay, how do I get to that next thing? So I feel like I'm always like from the beginning, like, okay, I wanted to go, now I want to mass produce things. How do I do that? Okay, now I did that. Like, now how do I get like to the next step? And it's always evolving.
I feel like that's really, a lot of people, they want to grow a brand, but it's really encouraging to hear that, you just take each step at a time.
Yeah, I mean, what else could you do?
Yeah.
Like you just have to learn that thing in that moment. And also, I was learning from nothing. Like, I didn't go to business school. I didn't have any business background. I went to design school. I went to Parsons in New York to study illustration, and that was kind of like my design background. But I had been sewing since I was in 7th grade. I started sewing in like a home economics class when I was 13, and just, did it from that and didn't even know.
Wow, yeah.
It was just for fun.
It's so amazing. And I feel like Parsons is like, as an Australian, Parsons is just such a big deal.
That's so cool.
To go to Parsons.
I don't know like what you guys perceive, or
it's like Hollywood.
It's a totally different
Hollywood.
mindset. So
Yeah.
it's like fun to hear everyone's perception of.
I feel like in the design world, I feel like it feels like the Hollywood of where to go to learn.
Okay.
Yeah, like it's
Cool.
just this really cool thing. And like, you have so many really well-known industry people that give a lot of mentorship and that kind of thing. What was one of the highlights of your time at Parsons?
I think that the best part about Parsons was just the freedom that they give you. So I had actually transferred from another school. I had done 3 years of undergrad at this school in Ohio, like a liberal arts school, before I even figured out that there was a place to go to study art, like in college. So I had a lot of credits already from my previous undergrad experience. So by the time I got to Parsons, I transferred in. I was able to do a lot of whatever I wanted. And Parsons curriculum is very it's not so regimented. They let you kind of sign up for whatever classes you want. So I was able to sign up for pattern making and draping and really incorporate all of this fashion design into my schooling that I wouldn't have done if it was just an illustration major. But since I had all of those extra credits, it was great to be able to do that because I learned so many other fashion things that I wouldn't have learned otherwise.
Wow, I love it and you started off from an illustration background and then moved into fashion. Do you feel like that has been very formative for your brand as well with your aesthetic
yeah, for sure. So when I started sewing in 7th grade, the only fabrics that I had to use were from my local craft store, which is just like prints that people are already making, like licensed prints, and then obviously solids. So I did a lot of work with color blocking from the very start because that was really the only way that I felt I could make something that was my own. Because if I'm using someone else's print, then it's like I didn't make the print, so there's like a separation there. Yeah. So eventually I was like, okay, well, I do all this color blocking, but I want to be able to design my own prints so I can incorporate them into my fashion design and my bags. And so the solution was I needed to learn how to draw and go to school for that. So that's why I went to Parsons for illustration. And then I was able to merge the illustration with my previous sewing skills to make Mokuyobi what it is today.
It's so cool. I love the combination as well because it's so bright, and I feel like the personal element of your own illustrations as well, it just makes it so unique. And obviously like people are absolutely crazy about like your whole world and universe that you've created. It's just so amazing. Do you feel like I feel like there's a real power in color and color combinations. How do you feel like a really good color palette impacts someone's day-to-day life?
I mean, color is a great way to boost your mood, and just even in my own personal style, I'll walk down the street or be going about my day and people will be like, oh my gosh, you're so colorful, and they just like takes them aback, and I like look down at what I'm wearing and I'm like, it just looks regular to me, but it really makes an impact, and color is like that for everyone. So I think that using color in my brand is like very eye-catching. Like, so even so at the event at the big design market, so many people would stop by and be like, this booth just like caught my eye and I had to stop and look at everything, and it's just like it kind of hits you.
It looked amazing, but I love as well, it's not even just the beautiful products that are so like practical and bright and bring joy into your everyday moments, but also just like I love the details in like the packaging, and like everything is so bespoke and there's fun. I feel like every little touch point of the brand is fun. Totally. And brings you into your whole universe. I love it.
The way that I design is very detail oriented. As like a person, I'm very detail oriented. So as a designer as well, I care about like every tiny detail, even like the buttons on
they're cool.
My snap has the Mokuyobi logo engraved in it. And so whenever there's an opportunity to like put something special in the details, even like the tag where it's like some secret little message or something fun, or it's like a really important like place to put those little details because you get to like surprise your customer and, you know, have this little extra like, oh my God, I wasn't expecting that.
It's so cool. And the logo itself is so interesting. So it's like a beautiful mountain. Can you tell me about the mountain?
Yeah, so we have like gone through a bunch of different iterations of the logo throughout time. But the mountain logo is like the idea of this mountain, which is like something you want to overcome or something you want to get past. And the lights that come out from behind it are like what is waiting for you when you arrive there. So it's just whatever like challenge or you know, adversity that is for each person. Just like the idea of like, okay, this is your like, you whatever you're trying to overcome or do, or your, you know, your goals, and it's just like a big picture kind of idea.
I love that. It's just so, I feel like it's a very powerful image, and it's so, the way it's illustrated as well is very joyful and fun as well. I feel like it's very, yeah, it feels like, yeah, everyone's on this adventure. And
yeah, life is an adventure.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're saying, oh, bring Mokuyobi with you on your adventure in life.
Okay. But I really love something. Everywhere I go, I really get a real kick out of visiting people's special stores and concept stores. It just takes you into the whole world of your brand. I was checking out the photos and I'm like, it's on my bucket list to go and visit. It looks so cool. What was that like, the whole renovation process, picking how your customers will experience your brand in a building?
Yeah, that was the most fun thing about building out the store, is just being able to create a space that they'll experience the brand in.
Yeah.
Because online, obviously, you see the product, but you don't get to like be in an environment. And being in a store is obviously kind of transcendent, and when you can like really put your customer in a place mentally where you want them to be to look at your product. So it was fun. Same thing to like really design all the details. Like we did this speckle floor, and we painted all of the overhead, what are they called? Like HVAC, you know, like we really made this space fun, and it was just such a dream to do.
It looks so cool. I noticed there's this like this interesting glass on a door.
Yeah,
can you
the
tell me about
fishbowl.
that?
Yeah. So I had this idea of doing like a fishbowl door, and I had to figure out like how to do it separately because there wasn't really anywhere to like get it fabricated. Yeah. So we found a place that makes custom arch doors, and then I found online just like a globe, like this globe window, and then we just had a hole cut in it like perfectly for that size and like glued it in. And it just like came to life. It was exactly what I had envisioned.
That's so cool. I feel like it's like, it's because I feel like it's such a big job to do something like that.
Huge.
And to think of all the different details, and you know, are you doing this too much?
Yeah. And there were so many things even that like I wanted to do that we ended up not doing, and you know, it was like my first time really imagining a space, and that was just like a whole new adventure, but it was so much fun to do.
Yeah, it's so fun because then you can, it's because you can go wild with it. It's not the same thing of like, oh, I'm doing up a place to sell, or I have to do everything white or something. It's like, oh, how can we give people this feeling of this creative world and the details, and it's just so playful and fun, and the space, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to go there. It looks absolutely amazing.
It turned out really great, and it really looks like very 80s, which is fun, and that's obviously a lot of my design inspiration is 80s and 90s, like what I grew up seeing, and I think it really comes through. Like we've had some people reach out to do like filming there for like
cool, like
an 80s store, which is so fun, and it's always like great when, you know, someone appreciates what we did and be like, I want to like use your space to, you know, do my project in, and I'm like, yes, let's do it.
Such a compliment. That's such a huge compliment.
Yeah, totally.
You're like, you might see it in a TV show.
Yeah,
like, I painted that.
Yeah,
I
totally.
worked on that too. I just feel like it's so nice, and it's it's a huge. Like I feel like if you're running a brand, to have a shop space, it's such a big, has it been a long held dream to open the doors of your flagship store as well?
I mean, I've been wanting to open a store for, you know, the whole time I've started the business. Like, you know, you always want to grow, and that's been like a big thing I wanted to do for forever.
Oh, it's so cool. I just think I love it. I feel like it's so inspiring when a brand has grown and, you know, evolved, and then, you know, suddenly you've got like all these staff, and like it's a huge operation. And then I know a lot. We talk a lot about how when you start off as a designer maker and then navigating that journey between like starting off doing everything yourself or like super small team and then working out how to say, okay, I'll give this part away, but how do you choose what part to?
The parts you don't want to do.
That's it. I feel like that's really good advice.
Yeah,
like,
the parts you're bad at.
I feel like my time is better spent elsewhere.
Totally.
Yeah, and the things that you're passionate about as well, which is really nice. Yeah, I feel like it's a really cool journey because there's no real roadmap when you're starting it from scratch and building the whole business brick by brick by
literally
brick.
yeah
it's a really inspiring journey. Would you have advice for, I feel like so many people have it's Melbourne, we're in a very creative space back home, very creative. Would you have advice to, I don't know, up and coming designers who like, I really want to start, but maybe they feel a bit nervous?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very scary thing to start your own brand. If I was giving advice to even myself in the beginning, I would say the bottom line is margin, making sure that you're making enough money. Don't undervalue yourself, making sure you're charging enough for your product so that you can support yourself and your brand and your employees and your team for years to come. Never sell yourself short. That's like the biggest one for sure.
That's really good. That's really good advice. Really good advice. And another question, Julie, can you tell me about what it's been like growing your brand and the changes that you've seen in the industry over the past 19 years of running your amazing brand?
So it's been like the craziest part about running a brand over such a long period of time, especially going from no internet to like where we are today and how much we rely on technology, is just having to learn every detail. Like when I started the brand, I was using like a point and shoot camera. Like there were no cameras on phones. Like like you weren't taking a photo unless you're a photographer with a DSLR camera, and having to basically learn every step of like all of the little technology, like taking e-com photos. Like I had to learn, okay, how do I do that? How do I take a DSLR? Okay, now I need to learn Photoshop, and I need to learn how to post all my photos online on my website. And then now even like with Instagram and TikTok, it's like, okay, now you need to be a videographer and you need to be able to do all this crazy content. Like when I started, you weren't making content. Like that wasn't the thing. There was nowhere to post it. So it's just been kind of crazy to have to really pivot throughout time. And I'm sure it will keep changing, but like you have to do everything. You have to learn how to do everything as a brand owner of a small business, like which you don't really think about when you're starting it. And I feel like people today, like young people, they do all this stuff. They know like how to do all this video and all this content, and it's just like a big undertaking that I've had to like learn and figure out how to do that. Next to also designing all the seasons and promoting and going to trade shows and selling online, and it's just like a lot. It's so much.
It's so
it keeps growing,
and it's all changed so much. Even the avenues in which people like in person, I think that's always going to be such a big thing for people to be able to see and experience your product in person. But the different marketplaces, and then suddenly it's like even with Instagram it changed. It used to be more photo based, and now it's more video.
And now it has to be like a story, and you have it's like a hook and a tagline. You have to like get people to stop scrolling after 3 seconds, and it's like, okay, now I need to learn how to do this and marketing, and it's like, okay, you just have to do it.
So you say that would be some advice as well, to be able to be agile. Is that the right word? I guess like being able to move with how the market changes and being able to learn quickly, think on your feet.
Yeah, and it's not even just like technology wise, like any industry changes over time, even like trends and what people look for and where, and you have to be cognizant of that as you design and market, and even the ways to market are like trend based, and there's just so much to really pay attention to. That's a big part of running a brand.
There's so much. There's so much. Would you say you have, do you have an achievement that you feel most proud of, or something that you feel that, oh, that's something that comes to mind too? Because I feel like that's a big question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say it's kind of funny being so close to the brand because I have a hard time getting like a real big picture view,
Yeah.
especially when I'm not really talking to customers on a daily basis. But that really helps me like zoom out when I talk to like a fan and they're like, oh my God, like this is my perception. And I'm like, oh, that's so interesting. Cause I'm really like in it. I'm like so close.
Yeah.
It's hard to like, you know what I mean? Stop for a moment and be
Yeah.
like, what am I doing here? Like, how is this being perceived in like a big picture way? And that's always really fun to like get other people's response to what I spend all my time doing.
Yeah. It's so interesting. I feel like others have such a different perception. Like you see it a certain way, like, oh, I hadn't thought of it that way. And that's sometimes really refreshing when you've been, especially when you've been looking at the work for so long. Like, oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, it's super refreshing. Even like coming to the big design market and you're saying like, oh, you're like such a huge deal that you're here. And, you know, and I'm over in LA, like, should I do this market? Like, is this going to be good? And I, you know, like, I don't really know because I'm just like in my one place where I can't see like how everyone's perceiving it in Australia.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's always like, I feel like there's always that element of the unknown where you think, I want to do this, but you wonder, oh, how will it be and everything. But it's such a big adventure as well.
So, yeah.
I feel like exploring new market, it's just, I feel like it's one of the funnest things, and especially in a new country and exploring. I'm interested in what's your perception of Australia so far.
Yeah. So Australia it's really fun. It's so cool. But I love how, well, we've just been in Melbourne specifically.
Yeah.
But I would say it's so interesting to see like the influence in the city of like Asian architecture and then also British architecture. Like times you'll feel like you're in Portland and then you'll feel like you're in Tokyo and you'll feel like you're in London, and it kind of like shifts in that way like throughout the city where it's like, where am I? Because it's like because the U.S. is obviously the only other place where they're predominantly speaking English, and then you come here and everyone's speaking English, but it's almost like a dream. Like you're like, something's a little bit off, but it feels very familiar at the same time. And then people have accents, obviously, but then you'll go into stores and they're like, do I detect an accent? And I'm like, I don't have an accent, you do. So it's just kind of interesting to like be perceived as like this novelty, and I'm like, no, you're the novelty.
Yeah. Hey, they're good mixed around here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and do you have anything that's on your must-see list that you're really excited to see while you're here?
We are only here for 8 days for the event, and we only get like a couple days to poke around a little bit, but I really am just excited to see like the shopping here and get an idea of like what's different and what you guys are doing, and small brands and small boutiques, like what's selling and what like how it differs from what I am used to at home, and just like exploring that.
It's so fun. Like I feel like I feel like the US is definitely bigger, but I feel like it's such a fun parallel. Like I love like, you know, the whole world of West Coast craft, Renegade Fair, and just how, you know, you've also got such a passion for local made over there. I mean, it's worldwide, but do you feel people's attitudes have become, they've found it more important over time in your brand as well, the local made element? I feel like it's hard to kind of understand how other people think. Like I know for me it's important, and it's like the whole thing. Like I wouldn't feel comfortable making something overseas. Like I want to be involved in the process. I want to see it through from beginning to end, and I want it to happen locally in my own community. I want to support my own community, the people that live there. I want to pay them directly and, you know, give back to where I'm making stuff. But it's hard to say, honestly. Like, I think people do value Made in the USA, but there's also such a focus on like, there's like when things are cheap too, and like even just like from what I see online, be like, I got this for $5 on Temu, and I'm like, oh God, and that just like hurts a little bit, So it's hard to know. I think there is a person out there and a group of people that value ethically made products, but
sometimes it feels like there isn't.
Yeah.
You know, and it's hard sometimes to be out here like doing the good work and
Yeah.
doing things the right way and feeling kind of like it doesn't matter. But I mean, I'd rather go out of business than stop doing things the way I do them now. So
That's so cool.
it's not really an option.
I feel like it's so inspiring. Yeah, it's I feel like in Australia we've had such a like more and more of a push over time. I think it's always been an important thing, but I think there's a lot more messaging out there about the importance, and it's just so cool to support your own industry, support people who live here, and
the people that you literally live next to.
And you can go and talk to you can go and talk to your maker, and that's a really lovely element too, that you can just like pop over.
I mean, that's a huge part of the design process for me too, because obviously I'm very detail focused, so I want to make sure along the way we work with all local manufacturers. So we'll work with a dye house and a cut house and a sew house for knits and wovens, and we're visiting like each one, picking it up, dropping it off at the next one for every product that we do. And at each step, I'm checking to make sure that it's done right, and I'm making sure that they have all the information that they need to, you know, have a tech pack and make sure it's done correctly. And then I can like literally visit the factory and watch them do it and double check their work and make sure everything's going good, which is something you obviously couldn't do if you were making things overseas.
Yeah, production.
Unless you're, flying over there constantly.
Lots of trips. Yeah, I feel like that's definitely such a big part that I think a lot of people don't realize, because like it's such a bright, colorful world in design that I'm like, there is actually a lot of, there's a lot of ironing, there's a lot of steaming, there's a lot of like checking that everything is
a lot
like
behind
right.
the scenes.
Yeah,
a lot of quality
so
control.
All your customers are so stoked with your product every single time, again and again and again. So it's a lot of hard work, but it's so cool working on it and then seeing
it's important
where it goes.
Totally. Yeah. And I've noticed also, like, even just at the big design market, how much focus there is on made in Melbourne.
Yeah.
Which I don't feel like that's really happening.
Yeah.
And like when I go to shows, like craft shows in Los Angeles or San Francisco, obviously there's small makers, but I feel like a lot of them are just outsourcing their product, and then they're still artists and small makers, but they're not making it, which kind of feels like disingenuous. Like, you're an artist, but you're not making this product. I mean, it's just kind of interesting.
The different combinations. Yeah, I feel like there's definitely, I think a few markets, I feel like they definitely, I think they prioritize the made local. I think that's sort of the first round of things. Yeah, I feel like there's been a lot of, there's a big push for it in Melbourne as well. I think a lot more people are aware, and it's one of the first questions people will ask you. Oh, where's it made?
Yeah. That's so good. I love that. I feel like more.
Where's it wrong?
I wish there was more focus on that. Yeah, no, it's really important, because I feel like people don't even think about it. Honestly, I feel like people don't. It doesn't even cross people's minds, because whenever I buy a product, the first thing I do is I look at the tag to see where it's made, and if it's made in China or some other country where people aren't being paid properly, or it's just it's a whole mess. I put it back, and I'm like, no. It's helps you shop your values, and which is important. Yeah, but I feel like even like when I shop online, there's very little limited information about where things are made, and you have to like even email the brand and be like, where's your product made? And it's like always very vague, and I'm like, well, if you're not being clear about where it's made, then there's no good news that you're gonna get when you ask them. So I wish there was more transparency about like where things were made, because I think a lot of people use like words to kind of trick people, like, oh, it's organic or whatever, and it doesn't actually mean anything, or it's fair trade, but who's to say, or is it actually being like confirmed, like the conditions that these people are working in, and what they're being paid, and workers' rights, and it's a whole thing. So I don't know. gives me like icky feeling.
Yeah, it's a really, I feel like it's a very complicated industry.
It's super complicated, yes.
Yeah, but it's like very cool that you're doing. I feel like when you're in charge of your own, it's nice to be able to push for the values that you really care about as well. And like obviously everyone really loves it because like you've created this like amazing brand, which is like, I'm like, whoa. I just love that. I just think it's like, it's so cool. Anyone that's like built it from the ground up and see that it's just like, yeah, you go get it. Yeah. It's amazing to see and the progress, you know, because like, yeah, it's a wild ride.
Yeah. We have such a wide range of products and it kind of just came out of nowhere almost, you know, like just thinking back on the past 19 years. And I started literally, I would use like blanks, like blank t-shirts instead of making my own and just like printing graphics on blanks and sewing my own bags. But then like eventually getting into making my own cut and sew clothing, and then that really like blew up into this whole thing and having the accessories and the apparel, and it's like, yeah, it's like a whole thing.
Do you think Julie, 16, 19 years ago, do you think you'd even believe, like, you always have it in your heart, but do you think you'd be like, whoa, what have we done, Julie?
Yeah, I always think about that. I always think about like the past, present, and future Julie, and like, did she think she'd be here? But then I also like imagine, like, I want to ask the future Julie, like, what's happening, and like, am I gonna be getting there, and like, how is it going in the future? You know what I mean?
Message for future Julie.
Yeah, right.
It's so nice to think about that, and I think even like anyone in the adult journey is like, oh, am I being true to what I set out to achieve? And yeah, it's so interesting to reflect, like, oh. It's
like
cool.
As the brand, like as a timeline, and thinking about like, where it ends, and like seeing, okay, if like me starting my brand was a movie, like how does it end?
I want to see the movie. I feel like I want to see like a full-on series. I want to see the movie. That's something that I'm interested in seeing. That's something that
I want to see it too.
I want to see it. I want to see that whole thing. It's so, I think it's very inspiring just seeing the whole journey, and no one ever knows the future, but I feel like it's going to be even better than you. I think it's going to blow your mind. I think it's going to be better than even what you can think of.
Yeah, I hope I'm not even ready for it.
Yeah, you're like, whoa, I wasn't expecting this. Like, I was hoping it would be good, but this is really good. So Julie, can you tell me what's next for you?
Sure. So I've actually been working on this new brand called Julie Seastrom that's been in the works for the past 5 years that I've been wanting to launch forever, which is basically a high fashion line that uses like fancy jacquards made in France and more womanly silhouettes and accessories and all kinds of things that we're going to branch into like home goods eventually, and it's going to be like this whole new adventure. So it's going to launch next month online. The brand's called Julie Seastrom, my name. And it's just been so fun to design in a different way and just expand my creative offering in a whole new environment, and I'm excited to see how it's perceived and how it goes.
Oh, that sounds so exciting. I can't wait to see it and to see what you've been working on. And it'll be so interesting seeing like your vision and seeing that all roll out. I can't wait. I love it. Oh my gosh.
It's been really fun to design, like, because obviously I've been doing Mokuyobi for a long time, and using my my skill set and my design, but kind of using it in a different way and in a different way of designing, and that's been really fun to explore, and it's like a whole new frontier.
Oh, the new challenges. Oh my gosh. Well, we're going to have to check that out. I can't wait for the launch. It's going to be so soon.
Yeah, it's coming in June 2025.
So keep an eye out. Well, thank you so much, Julie,
Thank you, Tara.
coming to Shop Gal. We've got an exciting, I know this will be posted later, but tonight we've got a really cool workshop tonight. We're like going to get set up for that. Downstairs at the moment, we're merching the shop, but that's all going to be done by the time you see this. And we're so excited to have the pop-up of Mokuyobi at Shop Gal. So support the brand.
Thank you so much for letting us pop up here for a month. And if you're in Australia and want to see Mokuyobi products firsthand, please come and check them out. We have a range of bags and accessories and apparel here for you to purchase and explore.
It's going to be so good. Come and check it out. Thanks.
Bye.